So we're ready to answer any questions you might have about how to move Franklin Park forward. We just request that you keep it related to the village and to the issues there.
Well,
You gentlemen were, yes sir.
Yeah, very interesting point where I just came here, I don't know what your name is, that we are so close to a lot of key places. Airport is one, and downtown. But what your plans are to make this a place like other communities surrounding us? Because I drive to my office in Lincolnshire. I drive north and I see a lot of construction going on and new
Yes.
businesses moving in those areas, a lot of new houses being built. But in our community, you can't even improve your house. I understand a lot of restrictions around and you cannot do anything and not being done.
Right.
So what's your plan is to make this community the one where people like to move in and raise family?
The first thing that I'd like to do is establish a capital improvement budget so we can start getting some of these streets and sidewalks repaired. The streets in Franklin Park are horrendous. We've got a lot of properties in Franklin Park that are undeveloped. When all the other communities around us have developed, even in difficult times, just in the last 4 or 5 months that some of these projects have come to a standstill, Franklin Park has been standing still for a long time. And when I talk to business owners and I say, well, why is it that you've located over here on North Avenue in North Lake or Melrose Park, or you're locating in Schiller Park? And they said, well, it's easier to deal with the municipality. I said, you mean the reason that you didn't want to locate in Franklin Park was because of the Inspection Service Department? They said, yes. I said, we talk to other business owners. What we do before we locate a business is we go talk to business owners in the town. What we want to do is get a flavor of what it's going to be like to deal with the village. And over, I've talked to those people. One of the things that we can do is we can provide a business-friendly atmosphere, and we're going to eliminate that hidden tax that comes in the form of the Inspection Services Department. But more importantly, what we need is a capital improvement budget so that when future business owners come to Franklin Park, they'll drive over streets that are paved well. I just knocked on the door, I don't know if anybody knows Gloria Wagner over the 3500 block of Elder Lane. She said, I took a cab 2 weeks ago, and the cab driver said, do you like living in Franklin Park? And she said, yeah. And she said, do you think the mayor's doing a good job? And she says, well, I don't know why. And he says, because I drive my cab all over the metropolitan area, and Franklin Park has the worst streets that I've ever driven on. Now, I know that this sounds negative, but one of the things that we need to do is we need to make Franklin Park attractive to business developers. We want to make sure that the Inspection Services Department is business friendly. We want to make sure that the streets are paved so that people will think it's a nice place to live. If you drive into Franklin Park now, it looks like a war zone. Grand Avenue in Manheim looks like a hurricane hit it. We had viable businesses there. Big Lots didn't want to leave. They were one of the most successful Big Lots in the metropolitan area. We forced them out. Now we own the piece of property, and there's no taxes being generated. John, on what we should be doing to attract businesses?
Well, I think it goes back to, certainly when someone drives through the town, if the town looks like it's viable and it's moving forward, that's your key thing. And some of the things that we've talked about is that we have some very, very good craftsmen here that have moved in over the last 10, 15 years. And it's amazing what they've done with some of the homes, the whole front facades, the brickwork, and it's just changing the image of the town. If you go drive through the Lundquist area, you can see the different homes and the way that they've been designed. They're really, really nicely done. And so one of the things that I suggest that if we're fortunate enough to get elected is that we go to those architects that design some of those designs and make those available to anyone that comes into the town. So you can buy one of these starter homes. We can give you a set of blueprints that has the material list, the costs, and then the part that would really be nice is build our own in-community list of contractors that are homegrown, that live here, that believe in the town, and you can't say, well, go to Harry or Fred or something like that, but you certainly can say, here's 10 qualified contractors, bricklayers, plumbers, electricians, tradesmen. They will build that house, they'll do that part of that that puzzle for you and get a bid from them. And I think that when you do that, what a wonderful thing. I mean, the whole, the makeup of Franklin Park will change, and people will have a tremendous pride. And we have some beautiful homes here, and then we have some beautiful homes that need to be renovated, you know, and have a solid base. You know, when I say beautiful, I mean that it's got a solid foundation. All you have to do is take some tender loving care to it and build onto it. So, but if, that's just one of the many things that we have in the works that we're looking at.
We think it's going to be, we think it's going to help if we establish a ethics ordinance that prohibits anybody who's related to the mayor or the trustees from being hired by the village. I'm sorry, mayor, trustees, and clerk. Because the mayor's hired 9 people that are related to him or the trustees, and it gives taxpayers the impression that they're being hired for who they know instead of what they know. And what we'd like to do is establish a strict set of hiring guidelines to make sure that people are hired based upon their qualifications. Because when businesses come to the village hall, they want to be greeted and talked to by people who are knowledgeable in their field of law or their field of practice. Someone who has a training or experience in economic development, someone who has training and experience in buildings and structures and knows what it makes them safe without having to cost property owners a lot of money for enhancing them. I know that my running mates frequently get tired of hearing me talk about renewable energy sources and passive energy sources, but I know that if I don't talk about them and then I try to implement them when I'm the mayor, someone will say, well, you never talked about that during the campaign, and I don't want that to happen. One of the things that my wife and I did when we bought our house, and many businesses and homeowners do, is they have an energy audit done on their house to determine where you're losing energy. If you properly insulate your house and you seal all of the cracks in your house, you can save large amounts of money, reduce your reliance on carbon creating energy sources, and make your house more sellable, because when people realize that you've got a house that doesn't take a lot of energy to maintain, they're more likely to buy it. When we had our energy audit done, we found out that most homes have leaks in their house that would be equal to 2 doors that size. Imagine having your front door and your back door open all winter long. That's how many cracks and holes are in your house. If you find out where those holes are and you seal them, you can dramatically reduce the amount of energy costs that you have. There are a number of different ways that we can tap into federal energy funds by converting some of our buildings to passive energy sources. And I'm going to be looking into that. We're going to hire a personnel that is going to have as one of their major responsibilities tapping in the federal grant money so that we can take advantage of converting not only some of the village hall buildings, but some of our older buildings here in Franklin Park that are owned by businesses or residences, and converting them to passive energy sources using federal funds. So it's not us putting the money into it, it's the state government or the federal government putting the money into them.